this, and this is all the stuff that's in it. This is one that I've modified from another trainer. She did an amazing job, and this is in here. That's not the one I'm going to be using for the introductory part of this training. What I'm going to be doing is using this, which is a more simplified version of it right here, just to get us started on some of the things in Google Drive. I'm sorry, in Google Classroom. How many of these have I done this summer? I don't know, too many. Okay, so I'm going to get started with just a quick overview, and then we're going to get in and roll up our sleeves and make a class, and I can show you how all of that works. I will be logging in. I'll be in my browser as two different people today. I'm going to be in my browser as a teacher, and I'm going to be in the browser as a student. So I'll be swapping back and forth so that I can show you the views from both perspectives. So very quickly, just some of the advantages that Google Drive gives teachers, first of all, is that you have folders for every student that just get automatically made in your Drive. So if you ever want to just review a student's work, open up their folder and look into it, you can. It does that by nature. It's not even something you actually have to do, and I'll demonstrate that if you're totally new to Classroom. It allows you for a completely paperless experience, which I have mastered. I teach my classes at Stockton, and all of my classes are paperless, and it is liberating, let me tell you. Okay. You can share documents collaboratively or force documents to be copied by each student so they each have their own copy of it to modify, like a worksheet or something like that. You can very quickly view who's done their work and who hasn't. Okay, you can very quickly and easily provide feedback on any work. You can do very on-the-fly announcements and discussions, which you can think of very much so as like almost a social network type of concept. Incidentally, in addition to the Google Classroom for the desktop, each student and yourself can also get the Google Classroom for their smartphones. And they'll hold on, I'm just responding to a text here. And so anyway, you can get this for your smartphone, and if the students have it enabled, they can get notification of their assignments when their assignments are due, and it becomes almost like an organizational tool for students and for yourself. So it's great. You can create quick exit polls or very fast questions or on-the-fly questions that can be very easily given to your students. You can get automatically graded quizzes. Okay, you can make a quiz in Google Forms, and it will be automatically graded and imported into your Google Classroom. It has a very quick and easy, the new version, the one I'm using today, has a very nice and easy to use grading interface that allows you to rapid fire through various different students and their work and grade it very quickly, much like you would be doing with maybe like a pile of papers if you were working in a paper environment. You can share any resource. Another thing I didn't put in here is that you can download all your grades to a spreadsheet should you need to create a spreadsheet at the end of a term. From the student perspective, it allows them to stay organized. They get the assignment notifications, which I talked about later. They get due dates. They can get their due dates shown to them in right within the interface and right within the application for the phone, and it just makes it really easy for them to stay on time. Let's put it this way. I probably would have done a lot better in school had I had that app. Anyway, you can collaborate with classmates, and you can share resources, and you can get real-time feedback from your students. So what's new in 2018? Well, I did this workshop a few months ago, or only like about a month ago, really. And it looked completely different than it does now. They just released the new model of it. And some of the things that are new in here is that they've separated classwork and into a place to organize assignments. It's no longer integrated with the announcements. If you're not new, I mean, if you've already been using Classroom, this will make sense to you. If not, don't worry about it. You'll be starting with this new version. All the classroom settings are in one place. They used to be in multiple places. That was always a bit confusing. The stream now has been sort of reserved as a discussion board, more or less, or like a forum. It almost looks like a Facebook feed that's private to you and your students. You can do this was something that couldn't be done by the course. You can turn on or off email notifications. Now, when I'm talking about email notifications can go to students, and you can allot for guardians to get email notifications if they so desire. And I'm told that coming soon is a place where you can create a Google Form quiz without even going to Google Forms. You can do it directly in Google Classroom, and it becomes part of your class. And here's the big news that everybody's excited about. If you're using managed Chromebooks in a school district, what I mean by, administrated managed Chromebooks in a district, you have the option to lock down a quiz that's being administered on the Chromebook. What does that mean? Well, it means it works like the PARCC test. Okay, I know nobody likes the PARCC test, but when a student goes to take a class, they cannot do anything else while they're doing it. They cannot leave that tab in that browser. They are locked. Okay, so that's an option, like, again, that's only available on managed Chromebooks. So I'm going to leave this this presentation, and I'm going to start with creating a class. And I'll start from scratch because this is an introductory level workshop. And I'm going to minimize this. And let me go to, now let me show you, just if you're really, let me start from the complete beginning here. If I go over here to my drive, I can click on this menu, and I don't see Classroom here. I think I had this problem the other day. There it is, Classroom. Now these things, by the way, if you're a person who's going to be using Classroom all term, and it's something you're going to get to every day, don't keep your icon stuck over here and more. Drag it up to where you can start to use it. Now, mine's not dragging, so I'm not quite sure why that is, but I clicked on it, and this has taken me into my class. Now, these are, some of these are real classes, and some of these are classes that I just make when I do workshops. Okay, this one, History of Audio Production, that's a real one. That'll be starting next Wednesday. I'll be teaching that class here at Stockton. So these are just various different ones I make when I'm doing, different things. Now, some of you may not have anything in here. Okay. Now, for some of you entering Classroom for the first time, it may be asking you if you want to enter as a student or as a teacher. Make sure you choose teacher. If you choose student and you're in a school domain, you could be stuck being a student, which means you won't be able to make any classes. So make sure you choose teacher. If that does ever happen to you, and I have seen it happen to some people in some districts I've been to, your administrator, your tech administrator can fix that for you from their end. Okay, so some of you might not have any classes here. Okay, each of these tiles is a class. Okay, these come in the most recent made, but they can be dragged to other spots if you want. Okay, I'm going to come back to this window when we have a little more to work with. Now I want to create a class from the very beginning. Okay, so I'm going to click this little plus sign at the top, create or join a class. I want to create. By the way, as a member of faculty or as a teacher, I can also join a class. Okay, teachers can open up classes to other teachers if they want, and then of course they can promote them to being collaborators in the course if they want to do that. But I'm just going to create a class today, and I'm going to give this class a name. I'll just call this Classroom Webinar. You can give it a name. You can give it a section. I'm going to 101. Everything is 101. Okay, and I can give it a subject. It doesn't have to be given a subject. I'll just give it one anyway. I'll just call it Tech. and then I'm just going to hit create. And it takes a second or two because Classroom is actually designing the module right now. It's actually making the module for me. So it won't take too long, or maybe it will. Okay, now there we go. I was going to write a note to myself to bring my Henny Youngman joke book for that point of me. Anyway, so this is what it looks like. Now it always sort of gives it its own banner. It kind of just defaults to a different banner. That let's start with the look and feel first, okay? So if right down here on the right corner of this banner, you can see select a theme or upload a photo. Let's start with select a theme. I would suggest using the themes at first that Classroom gives us because it's a little tricky to get a good size proportional photo to fit in that spot at the top. You can play with it, but if all else fails, just come back and pick one of these. Okay, so let's get a nice techie looking thing here for our Google Class. Oh, here's a Classroom thing. This will be a Classroom. Okay, so I selected that. And notice that when I did, it actually changed the whole color scheme of the theme. Okay, and if I did want to upload a photo, I could come in here and grab one and upload it to my computer. I mean, upload one from my computer if I so desire. So now here we are in our first look at an actual class. Okay, on the top left, I'm going to take you on a quick tour of the whole interface. The top left, this navigates us between classes. So these are the other classes I've made. I can very quickly get to it. I can also get to my calendar from here. Another thing I should have put in that bullet list at the very beginning is that Google Classroom also makes a calendar for your class in your Google Calendars that corresponds with your class. It puts it in the same, it creates it as the same name as your class. And any dates or due dates you put in there get logged into the calendar. What does that give you? Well, it gives you a calendar of your whole term. So it works very nicely. Okay, so that allows us to navigate around here. Now I'm gonna move over a little further. This is the stream. Here are these 3 links, and these are really pretty much just the 3 tabs that a class has in Google Classroom. It has your stream, it has your classwork, which is where you put your assignments and quizzes and everything else, and people is where we will look for a way to invite our students. I'm going to show you the options we'll have there. So stream, again, that is your forum or your discussion board, okay? And you can change the settings based on the settings you want. I'll show you those in a second. Classwork is where you put your assignments, and people is where you add, or sometimes you may subtract or block people from this window, okay? Now over here are my settings, and when you open it, there's not a lot there, okay? It gives you it gives me the ability to change the name of my course. It gives me my class code. That's what I use to invite students to the class, okay? And that may be the easiest way to get students in your class. Now, some of you teach in districts where your classes are populated. Okay, so sometimes you don't have to worry about that, or you can pull from a list that's already been added into Google by your administrators. If you're in that situation, you're lucky, but not everybody is in that situation. And then this thing, you see this thing that says stream? That's where we control our stream, and these are our options for that. We can allow students to post and comment. That pretty much gives them all privileges, okay? We can make it so they can only comment. Now, the way that would work is you can post as a teacher, they can respond and comment to it, but they cannot initiate a post, okay? It's up to you as to how you run your class for you, to decide which settings you want. And then if you really, want to lock things out, you can just say only teachers can post or comment. And that can always be changed. You're never stuck with it completely. But let's go back to this class code concept. This is my class code. You see that tiny little thing? You can probably even almost barely see it on your computers. When I want to invite students to my class, I can click on here, and one thing I can do is hit display. So if I'm doing this in a classroom, I can tell everybody, okay, this is the code where I want everybody to go to Google Classroom. I want you to click on the plus sign, and I want you to put this code in, okay? You can also do this. You can go full screen with it, so you can show it to the whole class on the projector. And it's usually only 6 digits, 6 letters, 6 characters. So it's not real difficult for people to do. Additionally, you can copy that. Okay, you can copy that code, and that's what I'm going to do. I can reset it if for some reason I wanted to change the code for whatever reason. I could do that, or I could disable it. I could make it so nobody could join anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the code, and I'm going to show you what it looks like from the student perspective to join a class. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip into a different portion of a different login of my browser, and I'm going in as a Stockton student. Stockton gives us each one student account to experiment with, and so I'm always the only student in my classes in these silly classes. Now, if I want to get there, I'll just go to classroom.google.com, and I just click the plus sign to join a class, and I'll just paste that code that was given to me. I'm just going to click join, and I should be in, and there's my class. Right now there's nothing here, but as you can see, there's my banner. So we'll be coming back here as we want to look at the student perspective. I'm going to move that out of the way and get back to the teacher perspective. Now I'm going to close out my class settings, okay? And I'm going to start by posting something in the stream, okay? So what I want to do is start my first post here. So I did allow for my students to post and comment, so I could actually initiate something where I could have them comment. So let me make my first announcement. I'm going to click the plus sign on the bottom right corner. I'm going to click to create an announcement, and I'm going to do introduce yourself. Okay, and I could put some details, please tell us who you are, what do you like, what are your interests, whatever. But I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to hit post. And that's put that into there. Now, students can go on and add comments. I'm doing it as a teacher, hi, I'm Phil, whatever, and whatever it is they want to say. And this becomes very much just like people commenting on your feed in Facebook, on your feed. The only difference is it's private to your class. Now I'm going to make another one, but I'm going to do it a little differently. And this concept applies to a lot of stuff in Google Classroom. So I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to do one, and let's see here. Test next week, start studying. And let's say I make that, but I'm not going to have my class, I don't want them to see that yet because the class actually isn't next week. I'm just making this ahead of time so that I can post it later. I'm allowed to create something in advance, and I'm allowed to, I can either post it, that would just put it to the timeline just as I showed it. I could schedule it, which allows me to pick a date and a time where it will go. So technically, I could go in and create all my announcements for the year, and they could just release themselves by time based on the calendar settings that I give them, which is nice. It's hands off, okay? And then you can also just save it as a draft. And that's what I'm going to do. And when I do that, it becomes just it sort of lives up here. Now the students don't see this, only you see this, and it lives up here. You can open it at any time and post it if you want. So now that's made it live. Okay, so you can continue announcements. Your most recent announcement goes to the top all the time. Okay, the only things I can really do with my announcements is I can edit them, I can delete them, and I can copy the links to them. Okay, it doesn't give you a lot of flexibility. I cannot reorder them. I don't know if I like that, but that's the way it works. Okay, so as far as announcements go, there's not much else other than the fact that if you have an announcement in another course and you would like to reuse one, you can choose from another class and reuse and I don't have anything in there to use. But you can do that. You can pull it from another class. And actually, another thing that I want to show you, and I really like this, and it works the same with assignments as it does with announcements. So if I go here and I click on Create Announcement, I'll put, I don't know, I'm not going to put anything. I'm just going to put some gibberish text in here just so there's some text. And look at this. Not only can I post it to this class, but what if I want to set, if I have 3 classes and I want to post it to 3 other classes? I can just click those, and when I do this, it goes to the stream in all of my classes. I love that. Additionally, actually, let me go back to just this class because that dismantled my other option. I have a choice here that remember, I'm the only student in here. There's only one student in this class, but if there were multiple students, when I open this drop-down menu, it would show lots of students in here. I can either click all students or individual students. So if I wanted to click, that's defaulting to all students because I'm the only one in the class. But if I want to just send an announcement to one student, I can. If I want to just send a quiz, a makeup quiz from the classwork page to one student, I can. If 3 students get a specific assignment and the rest of the class does not, they get a different assignment, I can do that. Okay, and I use it by this menu. So I really like that. Let's move on to classwork. Okay, so here's classwork, and this is where a bulk of your work sort of goes. I'm going to discard those changes. And here I am, assign work to a class. So right now I have no assignments in here. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is create an assignment, and this assignment is going to be a book report. Okay, so I want people to do a book report, and I give them instructions. Write a book report, and I'm not going to waste your time typing, but yeah, as you can see, the instructions go in there. At this point, I can add my point values. If it's just something that maybe you're sending them to check out or something like that, well, first of all, you can put it in as assignment in the stream, or you can just keep it as ungraded if you like. Okay, you can also, or maybe you want to add point values later. You can do that. Okay, you can put in a due date. I'm going to put in a due date for this to be tomorrow. Okay, let's see, what's today? Oh yeah, wow, we're just flying along here. Okay, I'll make it Friday. I'll give them a little time. And if you have a specific time deadline for it, you can put that in. Now you'll see topic here. Right now, I don't have any topics to work with. I'm going to leave that alone, but I want to explain that later because it's one of the good features that Classroom has. So I'm going to click Assign. And I'm going to put that. Oh, look at that. Okay, it's just trying to tell me about topics. I know about topics. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another one. And this time, I'm going to access my Google Drive. And on my Google Drive will be a form. And let's see here. I want to use a silly trivia quiz, okay? And what I've done is I've added a form. Now, if you're not sure how to make quizzes in forms, that was something we covered in our forms workshop. That's something to look into. I wouldn't be able to do it here. But when a quiz is designated, when a form is designated as a quiz in Google Drive, and you put it into your assignment, it will actually give you the option to import the grade. So now you've got a quiz that automatically grades, and then you've got Google Classroom that automatically imports that grade. Okay, so that's very cool. I'm gonna keep that like that. Now, the reason I can't assign this is because I haven't given it a title. Okay, and I'll do a due date on that. Okay, so let's do the 29th, and I'm going to assign that. And I'm putting all these things in here so that putting all these things in there so that you can see, so that when I go to the student view, you get to see what that looks like. So I'm going to click assign there. Okay, so now there are things. Now look at this. In my stream, it announces the upcoming things. The most the most important ones will show up here in this little tab on the left, but they will also be at the top of everybody's stream every time they log into the class. We do everything we can so that students know what they have to do. Okay, so I'm going to go back to classwork and I'm going to add one more type of assignment. And for this, I'm going to do an assignment, and I want to add something that I want the students to add on to. Okay, well, let's see here. Doesn't really. Okay, I'll just use this. Okay, so what that is a document that has something, and I want each student to fill out information on that document and send it back to me individually, okay? Now here's the problem. I have to make sure I get my settings right on this, and this is a great feature of Classroom. So if I do students can view file, that means all they can do is look at it. That's fine if it's just the instructions on how to do an assignment, but if it's something where they have to literally fill it out, you want to give them some other privileges. Students can edit a file. Be careful with that one, okay? That's perfect if you want to create a file that everybody joins in on, a spreadsheet that everybody contributes to, the whole class, because it's going to be one document that everybody contributes to, okay? So if you have 30 people in your class, 30 people are going to have access to modifying that document. And then this last one is the cool one, make a copy for each student. So that means if I'm giving a worksheet or something that needs to be completed or whatever, I can have a copy made for each student. And when I do that, as soon as the student clicks on the assignment, it gives them the option to, it doesn't give them an option, it just makes a copy of it. They can just start filling away without even thinking about it, finishing the assignment, sending it back to me, and then I have individual copies of everything that was originally made by me as one copy. So I really like that. So I'm just going to call this worksheet, just so it has something, and I'm going to click assign. So now I've got a few things in here, okay? So before I go further, what I want to do is start talking about topics, okay? All of my assignments can be organized in topics, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to create, and I'm going to create some topics. So this is my topic. I'm going to make this reading, okay? And I'm going to make another one. I'm going to call this quizzes. And you can organize these any way you feel like for your class, however it works for your actual class. Now, these individual assignments that I have, I could have placed them into these, but I didn't have these topics when I created them. So now if I go over here to book report, obviously, well, look at this. I can click on edit, and I can select the topic, and that'll go into reading. So I'll hit save. Okay, so now book report has been grouped into reading. Now I'm going to take quiz, I'm going to take worksheet, I'm also going to put that into reading. So let me edit that. And I'm just going to go back to what I didn't do the first time. I'll add that to reading and hit save. And the quiz, well, obviously that's going to go into quizzes. So I'll put that in there and I'll hit save. Now these things, these topics can also be moved around. If I prefer my topic, this quizzes, to go to the top, I can click move up. See these, I can click on these dots, click move up, and it goes up there. Now see reading. Maybe within reading, I want the worksheet to take precedent over the other thing. I can move that up. So once you create assignments, unlike the stream where the most recent thing goes to the top, in classwork, it allows you to reorder these and control exactly what order the student sees them in. So that's a nice feature, and you'll like that. So you can get quite a few assignments in here, but keep them really organized. I think it's time to go on as a student now. So I'm going to flip over to my student view. And okay, it's just down here. Here I am. Now, I probably have to refresh this because a lot of changes have taken place. And here I am, I'm a student, I'm coming back into my class, and now look at this, I see everything I need. I know I've got a quiz tomorrow. I know I've got a book report to do on Friday. Look at that, due Friday. God, I love that. And here are my various different assignments. So let me try to get to my assignment. So I'm going to go to my classwork, as any good responsible student should. And I'm going to go, and the first thing I'll do is take my quiz. Okay, so I'm going to click and view it. And I'll click on it, and I'm very quickly going to put in some info here. And this is just fake stuff. I'm going to just make up. So I'm not even looking at these questions. I'm just trying to fill this out quickly so that you can do it. I'll submit it, and okay, so that's been submitted. Okay, so now I'm done. That's how easy it is to take a quiz online in Google Classroom. Now, if I want to get back to my main part, I could just click this class name up in the top left corner. I'm going to go back to classwork, and now let me take a look at my worksheet. Well, I'm going to open up my worksheet, and I'm going to view my assignment. It's not due till Friday, but I like to work ahead. So I'm going to click on this and look at this. I have a Google Sheet, and I can go below here and type in whatever my teacher wants me to type in. And then right from the top right corner, I just click the Turn In button. And now that has been turned in. Okay, and I've used this with students, and they just figure it out. It's amazing. You almost can do this with very little instruction to the student. So let me go back and let me see what, oh God, let me do my book report. Now this is going to be a little different because I have to attach something. Okay, so I'm going to do my book report, and I can click add or create. Add would mean I would be getting something I've already created. So maybe I typed a book report, it's in my Google Drive, and I just want to find it and locate it. I could do that by just clicking this. And of course, I'd be browsing my Google Drive to do so. Or I could create right on the fly right here. So I'm going to create my book report. I'm going to go to Docs to create my book report, and it will show in a second. I still have to click it to open it. And now I'm going to type my book report. And there it goes. Okay, actually, I'll leave that in there because I'll go and I'm going to leave that typo on purpose. And I'm going to click Turn In. Okay, so now all my work is taken care of. Let's go back to my stream. Okay. And look at this. No work due because I submitted it all. Okay, I love that. Now, one thing I can do, though, if I click on any of this classwork, is that I did my book report, and if I panic and realize, oh my God, I forgot an important thing about one character on my book report, I better add a paragraph. I can click here, I can click unsubmit, fix it, and then resubmit it. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to go back as a teacher, and let's see what my feed looks like now that one of my students has done the work. So I'm going to click here, and really what I want to focus on are is the classwork here. So let me go to the quiz first. Okay, now the quiz is a Google form that's self-graded. So I really don't have to do too much with this one. Let's just go see. I'm going to click Turned In. That'll take me to all the responses. Okay, whoops, I messed up. Well, there it is. I didn't really want to do that. Now, you see this thing up on the top right corner? When I'm using a quiz from Google Forms, once they've been submitted, I can just click Import Grades. I could do this multiple times, so you don't have to wait until they're all in. You can do it at any given time. And now that's importing the grade. Okay, now I got 10 out of 25. Okay, I think I need some practice, but that's how it works. So now, once that's in here, I, as a teacher, can see the grade, but the students can't see the grade. Okay. In order for me to get that to the students, I need to either click individual students or I can go to the top and click all students. In my case, it's the same thing. And I'm just going to click return. And once I do that, the student gets their grade. Okay. And that'll come up in their Google Drive. In their Google Classroom. So now let's take a look at some other assignments. Okay. Let's look at the book report. Okay, so here I am. Let's go here. I'm going to take the book report. That expands the window. And if I click in Turned In or View Assignment, it takes me to the same window. It's really the same thing. I'm just going to do View Assignment. And what I would see here, if I had lots of students, is I would see like tiles of all the different student submissions in here. And I could click on any student and get it all, but I'll click on all students, and I'm going to click on this one, and I want to show you the grading interface because this is a big improvement to the old Google Classroom. Okay, this allows me to view other work by this student, other grades. I don't have much to look at here, but that's the idea. These arrows here, again, I don't have other students in this class, but if I did, I could scroll student to student to student. That means that I could come over here and I could issue a grade. Right now, I'd probably give this book report about a 10 out of 100, and I can add a comment, needs work. Okay. Here, that's a private comment to only the student, only they see that. But let me talk about comments for a second, because up here you're going to see something called Comment Bank. Okay. And as you create comments, you can add them in here. Needs work. Okay. That's a comment, and I've added it. So how does this work? Well, if I find myself adding the same comment over and over and over again, to multiple papers in a class, I can go to the comment bank and I can take the one I want, copy it to my clipboard, and paste it as a comment. Okay, so that's sort of a comment bank. So if you find yourself using things a lot, put it in the comment bank. Okay, it'll work nicely that way. Okay, so next I can also put in a comment on specific things in a paper. So here is the word book. Look, I can highlight that and I can click on the comments. Let's see, where is my comments here? I can click on my comments icon in Google Docs, and I can say learn how to spell book. Okay, and I need to learn how to spell learn. So it's a mutual experience for everybody. So I'm going to click comment, and so now that the student will see that comment when they get this back. Okay, now I'm going to post the assignment, post the grade. Okay, but as you can see, it's not returned yet. Okay, now what I could do is just go on to the next student. Again, I don't have any, but I can click these arrows here. I can go on to the next student, and I could just continue as if it was a stack of papers that I was going through to, to conduct my teaching. But I'm going to hit return. Make sure that that's returned to the student. And then we'll do that, okay? And the other assignment that I've given them works in a very similar way, okay? I'm going to go on as a student now. And let's take a look at what this looks like. There's my book report. Okay, let me click on it. And look, there's my comment, learn how to spell book, okay? Well, let me go in here and write book. So now I can fix that, and I can do all my other stuff, elaborate on this. Obviously, I wasn't ambitious enough, and I can turn this in again if I want to. Now, not every teacher accepts a return in. That's up to you as a teacher. But what this can do is allow an ongoing assignment, like a writing assignment or something, where the teacher can go in periodically and issue comments and whatnot, make the student improve it to where you can work back and forth and give student feedback until they get the perfect paper. This goes beyond a class now. It becomes a writing workshop. Okay, so it could change the way you actually approach working with your students if you think of it that way. So it's a great part of what Google Drive provides for us, and especially with Google Docs. Now, let me go back as a teacher, and I want to show you just a few other things, and then we'll wrap it up for questions. Again, this is just a real quick introductory level look at this. We're going to get much deeper in the advanced level. Okay, so let me go back to my teacher view, and where's my classroom? Did I lose my classroom? Did I close it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I need to refresh, and let's take a look here. Okay, oh look, he spelled book right and put in some extra content. I'm going to give, that makes me so happy. I'm going to regrade that as 100, and I'm going to put nice work. Okay, so I can post it. And remember, you can post, but you still have to return. Okay. Now the reason that exists is you might not you might not want the student to get the grade immediately. Maybe you want to release all your grades at once. Okay. Now if I go back to where this book report is, again, if I could hold off on doing the return, and I could come here and just click on all students and hit the return button as well. Okay, it's dimmed because everything has been returned, but that's how that works. Okay. Now, just a couple other things. Let me go back to my root of my class. That I find is the trickiest part of navigating the new classroom, is that when you're in a place like this, if you're like in an assignment or something like that, it kind of takes away those tabs. If you ever want to get back to them quickly, just the name of the class up in the top left corner, that hyperlink will take you back. Now, if I go to people, there are other things that can be done in here. There will be a place, if you're in a school area, where you can add guardians, okay? And that works the same way. You can send them a code, or you can put in their email addresses. So if you gather guardian email addresses and you want to maintain contact with parents or guardians, that's a place. It can be done here within Google Classroom. And I have some advice for you. A quick and easy way to get guardian email addresses is to make a Google form, send it to everybody, and ask for their email address in a Google form. It'll put it into a Google spreadsheet so that it'll work for you. Okay, that's basically it. Let me see. Let me just take a look at my. Oh, I do want to show you a couple little things here. If I clicked on any assignment, and I go to the settings for the assignments, look at this. Copy all grades to Google Sheets, download grades as a CSV, or download these grades as a CSV. That means I could basically, if I wanted to make a Google Sheet out of all, let's say I had a lot of grades in this class with a lot of students and everything, this would make me a Google Sheet with a report on all of that, okay? And I can also download that. If I download it as a CSV file, I can open that right up into Excel or something. If I prefer to work in the Excel world on my computer, I can do that same thing. So that's in the settings within the an assignment area. I don't know why they hide it so deep, but that's where they keep it. And I wanted to show that to you. Let's see here. We actually, believe it or not, really covered quite a bit for a short workshop. So let's see here. Yeah. Oh, I do want to show you this in my Drive. Let me show you what got made when I made this class. In my Drive, when you create your first Google class, you're always going to have one folder. Hold on, let me go to my Drive here. You will have one folder called Classroom. So let me show you where that is. Okay, now that means all of my classes are in here. Look at that. These are all the classes I've actually done over time. Now, what's the one I did today? Classroom webinar, right? So if I click there, that digs down into individual assignments. And if I click on the folders of the individual assignments, it actually has the actual documents that have been submitted by those teachers, okay? Reciprocally, I just wanted to say that. I can go to student in my student view and go to my drive, and I kind of have the same thing. So students will have a folder called Classroom with the name of the class that they're enrolled in, and then they can find all their work that they've done for the class in there. So it becomes a nice filing system, and a good time is had by all. So I'm going to stop there and open this up for questions. Oh, no, I'm not. I lied, because I want to show you one more thing. And this is my favorite, number one favorite thing that they've added to Google Classroom. Okay, and it's actually available outside of the class area if you go to classes. Okay, this is something that has been a peeve of teachers everywhere I go. They all want to be able to do this, and up until a month, 2 weeks ago, you could not do this in Classroom. Let's say I made a class last year and it's the perfect class, and I want to reuse it this year. Okay, I can go here and I can make a copy of a class. What it does is it copies all the announcements and all the assignments and puts them into your class as drafts, which means that you can release them as you want. So if you want to very quickly recreate a class you've already taught, or like you're going to recreate, you want to use 10% of what's already been done, you can. It's the perfect way to recreate a class. So many people are happy about that one. Okay, now I will open up for questions. And you can turn your mics on. Now's the time to have fun. I'll even turn my camera on. Okay.
This is Tiberius. I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the tutorial did from the student's perspective, because I feel like I have a pretty good handle on Google Classroom, but then, the trends in population with the students, and some have some experience, some have none. So is there a tutorial that you did, or perhaps someone else did, that shows, how to do this from the student's perspective from their side?
There are slides in the presentation that I sent you the link to that have there's a whole set of student perspective slides in there.
Okay.
And, if you send me an email, put my email address in here now. You can, if I come across any video tutorials that have an updated look at it that I think are any good, I'll send them to you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Another thing to consider in your district, don't hesitate to look for tutorials and things in Spanish and stuff like that too, because there's a lot of stuff out there like that. There are Google trainers all over the world making resources in all kinds of languages. So, just in case you have a new student that doesn't have the English language down quite yet, you might be able to find things in some other languages. Not to mention Google Translate helps with that quite a bit too. Right, Faisal?
Correct.
Yeah. Faisal just made a whole bunch of surveys in Spanish, and Faisal speaks fluent Spanish, but still used Google Translate a little bit, right?
That is correct. Yeah, and Google Translate does a magnificent job in translating almost 99% accurately.
Mm-hmm.
At least in Spanish.
Any other questions?
Yes, Phil, it's Andrea. You said about the link. Where's the link?
It's in the chat. Do you know where the chat is?
No.
Do you see it in the? I'm not sure what your interface looks like where you are. It has a little chat, like a little comic bubble icon.
Where would that be?
I'm not sure, because you have a different interface than I do. On mine, it's on a gray bar.
It should be
to the right-hand side of the screen.
It should be, Andrea. It should be on the right bottom side of your screen a little bubble or a comment bubble that if you click on it, it opens up the chat section.
And you'll see some of the chat that's been going on during the workshop.
Okay.
Did you see it? Did you find it?
No. Mm-mm. I mean, I'm on an iPad.
Oh, do you know what? I think on an iPad, sometimes if you turn it sideways, the interface opens up and it gives you the tool options. A lot of iPad apps work that way. I don't know if that's the case with this.
No.
No, that's not doing it for you. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never used the meeting on an iPad.
Yeah, that's the only way I could get on it. Okay. Can you send me if I email you? Can you send me the link?
Sure, certainly.
Okay.
We're a small group here.
Yeah.
So.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Real quick, when I click on the apps and I click on more, I do not see Google Classroom.
Okay, that does happen sometimes. It actually happened to me recently. I don't know why that is, but I can tell you what I did is I went to it directly by typing in classroom.google.com.
Okay.
And then for some reason it did come up a little later. It's sort of like Google kind of knew I was going there. And, and put it. I didn't expect that, but that's what happened. So hopefully that happens for you. But when in doubt, Google classroom.google.com will get you there.
Yeah, that's what I did in order to follow through the exercise with you. But
Yeah.
Again, when I wanted to see if it was in the apps and then I can move it up as you suggested in the beginning, it wasn't there.
Yeah. So the other day when I was doing this, it wasn't showing for me either. And I don't, there's a lot of glitches going through it right now because they're updating it a lot. I was teaching this the other day in Vineland, and I was trying to show this thing where you could copy the class, and it wasn't there. It just simply wasn't there. It had been there the day before, and then here's the funny part: is an hour and a half later, I did it again, and it was there. So I get the impression they were working on a file or something on the server, and they dismantled it until they fixed it, and then they put it back.
And just as a quick side note, my wife was a social worker in that class in Vineland.
Oh.
That's how I got to you today. She said,
cool.
He makes it easy. You won't get frustrated. So I want to thank you very much.
Are you a teacher in Vineland too?
No. I'm Mike Cagno. I'm with professor at Stockton University, but I'm also.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're the Stockton guy. Okay. I knew there was somebody from Stockton. Nice to meet you. Maybe I'll see you in a payday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just as a matter of information, I've posted on the chat section, for those of you who can see the chat section, the link for the pre-recorded sessions for each individual Google webinar that we've done in the past. So if you go to that link, it takes you to a website, and you can actually see all of the webinars that Phil has done in the previous introductory series that we did prior to this one. Now, the previous introductory series had the old video of the old version of Classroom. So I will be editing this video and posting it as well as soon as maybe after Labor Day. You will be able to find it in there.
Actually, while we're here, look at this. All this stuff we did today, this is my student email from Stockton. And look at all the, these are all the notifications I got from my class. This is what the student sees. Okay, so I just thought I'd show that. I can't show the faculty one. Well, actually, I could. Let's see. But anyway, the faculty gets the same thing. And so do guardians. Okay, so it works out nicely.
Any more questions?
I just have one last question. I know my, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My district uses Genesis as I told you last week, and unfortunately it's not compatible with Google Classroom, but I'm thinking about maybe pre-grading some things before I, dump it into Genesis. So the way you imported grades, do you have to set up calculations? Do you have to set up formulas in Google Sheets, or does it automatically do it for you, or is it just like a copy of what the grade each student received for the assignment?
It would give you the numeric grade, but not the letter grade.
Right.
But I will say this, there are probably, if I went on and looked now, there's probably about 5 or 6 add-ons to Google Sheets that will calculate letter grades, and you could do it that way.
Okay.
So
But
Phil, if you
let's say your quizzes are 30% of the final grade. You have to set up those formulas yourself, or?
Yeah, like I said, I think there, I'd have to look into this for you, but I think there are, you can augment Google Sheets by adding, like augmenting it with what they call add-ons.
Mhm.
I think there's a few really solid grading add-ons that teachers are using to do that.
Mhm.
Before you go making calculations, there are some of these that I think might just, you can get them right out of the box that way.
Yeah.
So to get to add-ons, I don't know, have you ever done that?
You showed me how to do the add-on, actually.
Okay. Yeah, so whatever app you're in,
Yeah.
you can, they're proprietary to the app.
Mhm.
Okay. So
What was the one you suggested for Google Forms, to copy a quiz question from one quiz to another?
that's called reuse form.
Reuse. Okay, thank you. 'Cause of course I forgot.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
bear in mind that if you have any other questions, even after we end the webinar, feel free to email Phil Polsinelli. He left his email also in the chat section, Polsinel, Polsinep at stockton.edu. And
Or Philip.Polsinelli at Stockton.edu, whichever you can remember.
Can I have that again, please? Because I don't see any of that on this.
Sure, it's Polsi, that's P as in Peter, O-L, S as in Sam, I, NEP, N as in Nancy, E, P as in Peter. That's Polsinep at stockton.edu.
Thank you.
I think we should put that email address on the page that has all the videos.
Correct, and I will.
So it'll be a little easier for people to get to. Yeah.
Yeah. And remember, you can go back to that website. I will email that website right after Labor Day. All of those who participated today, I will email the website link so that you can have it and refer back. Use it as a resource.
Oh, and I'd like to say this to my Stockton colleague. Last semester, my Blackboard page was nothing but a link to my classroom. The students loved it. So I don't think they want me to tell that to all the Stockton faculty, but the students really did like it. So
Your secret's safe.
just food for thought,
All right. Well, I want to thank you on behalf of the SRI and ETTC at Stockton for participating. This is, like I mentioned earlier, the last of the free webinar series. However, we do have the intermediate and advanced series, which is the exact same series with the exclusion of Drive and the addition of Gmail. If you're interested and your district is a member of our consortium, you can actually participate. They are listed in our public calendar. If you go to our homepage, ettc.net, you will see there the webinar series. It's one ETTC credit, or for those who are not members of our consortium, it's only $29. Phil will be going through the series as well. Again, however, this time it will be at an intermediate and advanced level. I will encourage you to actually take a look at that. If you have any question regarding these webinars, you can call me directly, and I'm not afraid to give you my number. This is my office number, 609 609-626-3862. Again, that's 609-626-3862. And I will give you some direction if you have any other question with regards to this new series. Okay, so
Thank you very much.
thank you. I appreciate you coming, and you guys have a good evening.
You too, now. You too, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thank you,
Take care.
Phil.